Welcome to the Millennial Network Podcast. Now your host, Coach Danny Renee.
What's up, y'all? This is Coach Danny Renee, and this is the Millennial Network Podcast. Right here we have Josh, aka Twiggy, who is an Airbnb expert, serial entrepreneur. Not only is he an Airbnb expert, but he's a six-figure Airbnb expert, coach, all the above, former athlete. Josh, this is our second time trying to do this. He was actually the first person I interviewed on the Millennial Network Podcast with us bringing it back, but we have to do this again. So, Josh, tell us about your story. How did you get into entrepreneurship?
Nice. Let's get it. Appreciate you, Danny. And like I said, appreciate you for having me on this platform. And I got in business technically when I was a teenager, but I was cutting grass, but I did that like one hot summer, sold some Cutco one summer, and then I transitioned into my full-time athlete, playing basketball, football, and did a little bit of track. But when I graduated, I did play football in college, was on some teams, wasn't the best in the schoolroom or the classroom, and I knew I wanted to live in abundance, right? And where I'm from, all we really had at the time, 10 years ago, before this whole internet world and this opportunity world came about, all we really knew was sports and entertainment and maybe, the drug life or whatever. So my lane was trying to dive into sports, and, worked out, got in college, but graduated, and, I didn't have a plan, B. Sports is my plan A. And luckily got exposed to some 7-figure earners at an early age right after college. And that's what gave me the belief that I could be a boss myself. So that's kind of how I got into entrepreneurship, started in the home-based business world. And that developed me and developed my skills and just got me out of, my comfort zone or what I was used to. And ever since then, it's been a blessing, been a blast. Everybody has entrepreneurship or something in them. You just gotta meet the right people that's gonna pull it out of you. And that's what happened to me at an early age. So maybe it gets pulled out of you at a later age, but everybody has that potential. So it's not like I'm super special or anything like that. It was just the right timing. I was sick of being, broke, tired of taking orders for other people. And it happened, everything aligned. So that's kind of like how I got in entrepreneurship, just being around, entrepreneurs at an early age.
Okay. Now you said sports was your plan A. How come you didn't go pro with either basketball or football?
I always say, me and my friends joke about this, to get in the professional world in sports, you got to have that it factor, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a combination of determination and ability, right? You got, and then, and mindset, right? So some people have the ability, but didn't have the determination to get to that level. So I don't want to say I wasn't good enough to play pro. I just didn't have the determination, and I didn't have the work ethic I do now in business. In the sports world, I was just relying on my ability, but I didn't have work ethic like I do now in business. So if I would have applied my mindset now to when I was playing wide receiver, played football, I believe I would have been playing on Sundays, but that wasn't the reality, So I've seen people that's just as good go on to play pro, go on to play CFL, and they just had a different work ethic. So, I'm not gonna say I wasn't good enough. That's always like, as an athlete, we all want to think we was good enough to go to the next level, but just wasn't the right timing, and I didn't make the right mental decisions and the right physical, commitment to be that person. So That's where we
Yeah,
at.
because you're a twig, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm a little. I got some beef. You know, I got a little
Yeah,
something.
got a little beef.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Awesome. So,
I make more than the average NFL player right now. So everything worked out on the money side.
so it matters what you were important to. What was most important to you? And I think that's like a level of maturity, and it's good that you came to it at a young age, because I know people now, they still chase their dream, and there's nothing wrong with it, because your dream is what your dream is. And I always said, like, I have a kid, or not even just have a kid. Like, you look at Kobe Bryant, like, I'm pretty sure, like, if he got injured to an extent while he was climbing the ladder, he was still going to be involved with basketball some way, shape, or form. It's just like, if for whatever reason, that's not your life, why not become the coach? Why not become the trainer? Why not become the, I don't know, sports director, like something like it, the hustle is where the hustle is at. But if that's not your passion, if you're chasing money, then money could eventually be easily, like, your dreams could be easily changed if you are in the right environment.
Exactly.
So why or actually, before we get into Airbnb, do you feel like your parents entrepreneurs? Because I know you say you were exposed to like seven figures. Were your parents entrepreneurs, or what was your background then?
Great, great. So I was a typical jock, uh, DC student. My parents were the educator. They both have PhDs, so
Mm-hmm.
they both went to college 3 times,
Three
which was
times.
was mind blowing to me because it's just not my lane. But you got to realize our parents were raised to think that success was going to school, getting a good job, getting multiple degrees, and that was the be all, the end all be all, right? Back then the
Mm-hmm.
corporations could take care of their staff better, but now the corporations has literally dismantled, and it's pensions are not existing, Social Security, won't be nothing, won't be anything. So I was raised under that. I actually it's cool because my results. If you want your friends and family on board, go out and get
Mm-hmm.
results because you'll be able to influence them to really think entrepreneurship or just believe in what you're doing. So now all my family, my immediate family, is entrepreneurial. I transitioned them out of that old way of thinking. And there's nothing wrong with college. There's nothing wrong with going to school. Nothing wrong with getting degrees. But you just gotta understand that philosophy and that, economic plan was based on old principles. It's kind of like,
Agreed.
Blockbuster is Blockbuster for a reason. Netflix is Netflix for a reason, right? Blockbuster will never come back because it's a new world, and the world is getting faster. It's changing. So a lot of millions of jobs are getting dismantled because of just the modern world. And then not only in the modern world, the pandemic literally destroyed millions of jobs, and they're never coming back. So in this world, in this life, you got to be able to adapt to what's going on out here. So, but no, my parents were definitely not entrepreneurial. They told me to go to school, get good grades. They believe, they chase titles. Me, I don't chase titles. I chase results and outcomes, right? Um, so yeah, I wasn't raised. I actually got introduced to a self-made millionaire in his 20s through the network marketing industry at an early age, and that's what shifted my mindset. And I'll say this last thing before you go to the next question. It's really, and I don't, some people feel a certain kind of way about this guy, but I don't really put too much emotion in what he believes in and kind of what he said in the past. But this book changed my life, and it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. that book changed my world. I mean, it showed me the difference between, the people that live in abundance and the people who don't live in abundance. And of course, we're talking about economically or financially. It's other ways you can have abundance outside of money. But that's what changed my life. And then that book created me and made me more open-minded to opportunities. And then that's when I got introduced to the self-made millionaire at an early age, in my early 20s. So that's how that story went. That's what influenced me. Not my parents' degrees, not my friends and family, lack of resources. I'm influenced by results and execution. And that's kind of how, that's why I got my results and keep growing my results. So that's kind of the backstory. So
Okay.
no, my parents did not influence me to get in business. They was more corporate. So.
And I'm glad you gave the backstory because, I've been thinking recently is like you hear people, a lot of motivational speakers say that our parents tell us to go to school, get good grades so we can go to college and get a good job. And yes, they did tell us that, but the main important part that we're missing is that they did grow up in a different time. Back then, if you worked at factories, what was it, the industrial age? If you worked
Yep.
at factories and whatnot, you worked for your 20 or whatever years, you can get a good retirement and actually live a decent life, getting good money coming in, but that changed when you go to different states and you get a job and you have the at will to where they can fire you with no reasoning, or you can leave with no reasoning. And then not only that, but what is it? Unions. Unions went away to where your job is no longer protected. So we are in a different state right now. So I'm glad you gave that backstory. So why Airbnb?
Great question. So, this is my opinion, my perspective, and it's a whole bunch of things you can invest in, and I encourage all of it. I mean, I invest in everything out there. I put money in it, invested in it, dibble dabbled in it so far, but the key is, once I discovered that the bank actually uses your money to build wealth. So when you make money, you put it in the bank. That's typically what we do, right? The bank then gets insurance on your money. So if they mess it up or lose it, you're insured. So your money's super safe, but they'll loan out your money and they'll create income off debt. So in America, especially, most of the civilization, most of the supply chain, and most of the big business is, stimulated by the banks. So banks create the wealth. And once you understand that banks leverage your money to build wealth for the banking families and for their personal gain, you'll start to think differently about money, about where you should put it to grow, not only for your lifestyle, but to help you beat inflation. So what you need to understand is you need to beat inflation. Inflation means that this glass, right, cost 5 cents 30 years ago. But in 2021, this glass cost $2. Just an example.
It
So
probably
that means
still cost that much.
Exactly, right? You go to Dollar Tree, it's not $1 anymore. It's $1.30. Then you got to pay tax. So long story short, if you hold on to currency and money and you just have it saved up, it's not moving. It's actually you're actually losing money by saving money over a period of time because of inflation. So once I understood that, I just became more calculated with investments, more of a risk taker. So, I was starting businesses long before Airbnb. which I started back in 2017. I was taking my own money, risking thousands of dollars, starting all kind of things. I had all kind of businesses, and they didn't work. Well, I didn't work it enough. I would never say the business didn't work because it's always the individual behind the business. But Airbnb is attached to real estate, and real estate is one of the safest investments in the world. It's one of the safest investments in the world because it's always more people than it is places. It's how the world works. People will always need to travel somewhere, go somewhere. It is in our nature. You can't lock up humanity and put them in a house unless, the matrix happens again and they make your mind, it's kind of with the metaverse.
Wait, if it happen again? Is the matrix happening again?
No, I'm saying if it happens like the movie, if it happens like the movie.
No, it was just funny because you like, if it happened again, I'm like, wait, what did I miss that on?
Exactly.
I'm just messing with you.
Exactly. The metaverse got Matrix vibes to me. I don't know about you.
I agree.
It got Matrix vibes, which is whatever. Everybody got their thing, right? But long story short, you have to. So I always go deeper than just Airbnb because you got to know why Airbnb, right? So there's always people that's traveling, always people that is moving. Business is the biggest part of travel, not leisure travel. That's what people don't understand because some of them travel for playtime, but playtime is a small percentage of the travel that really goes on. So, and when it's movement, you'll always need real estate. You need cars to go to buildings. You need complexes to go to complexes and homes. And in return, you'll always have an accommodation market. So accommodation market is millions of people who travel to go places. So like I'm in a condo right now in Dominican Republic. I fly back to Texas for a convention. When I leave Texas or before Texas, I got to fly to California to potentially look at another business venture. So where am I going to live at? Where am I going to stay? Right? I'm not going to be on the street. I need places to go. I need places to stay. And there's millions of people who move like that. So why Airbnb? So that was the first part why. It's a long why. Forgive me. Just stay tuned. Stay with me. That's the first part why. Because real estate is one of the safest investments in the world. It's one of the most consistent investments in the world once done correctly. And the way I teach it, now I'm both. I'm an investor and I do what's called rental arbitrage. Rental arbitrage is where you don't need to own the property. You don't need to buy the property. To buy, so here's the thing. When you buy a property, this is what creates the bank's wealth. This is the biggest creator of bank's wealth when they loan you mortgages. So you are buying a home or an investment property with the bank and it costs $300,000. Over 30 years, they're going to make another $200,000 to $300,000 in interest. So you're paying them back $600,000. That's just an example. That's an exaggerated example, but that's how the banks make their money over time, right? So think about this. As a person who wants to get an investment property, right? As a person that wants to get an investment property, your goal is to make monthly passive income. That's the only reason you would do that as a real estate investor, right? You're not buying a property just to say you got a property. You're buying a property because you want monthly income coming in, right? So if that's your ultimate goal as an investor, do you want to spend $300,000 to do that? To potentially get a couple $100 a month profit? Or do you want to spend 20 grand and pay the rent, do rental arbitrage, right? And still get the same outcome, but your profit margin is going to be better because people pay more for short-term rentals than they do long-term. That's why if somebody signs a 12-month lease, the actual they got to charge the market rent, right? So with rental arbitrage with Airbnb, you're able to collect the benefits of having $1 million portfolio without spending millions to the mortgage company, without spending millions in interest, right? Now, am I saying you should never own nothing? Absolutely not. You should always want to be in control or own or control everything. Own nothing, control everything, right? However your phrase or what you believe in, but you should always be able to cut the middleman out in real estate eventually, right? But you got to play chess. You got to play chess, not checkers. So, why Airbnb? You can beat inflation better. It's more consistent cash flow. It's less risky than most investments because it's a demand that transcends it's human nature. It don't matter you black, white. It don't matter your religious beliefs. It don't matter your sexual orientation. None of that stuff matter. Real estate is here for everybody. So that's why, in a long reply, that's why Airbnb, right?
Yeah, I respect that. So we got the why out there, and I think that's important when you get into entrepreneurship in general, is that no matter what you're doing, know what your reason, why, sometimes you get a job, like we all know our why. A lot of times we get a job is because we want to make money. Sometimes people are lucky enough to get a job and it's because that's what they want to do. Like, for instance, going back to sports, a lot of people play sports because they want to make money, but Kobe Bryant, he technically had a job as an NBA player, and his job was to play basketball. His why was because he loved basketball. So you got your why because you want to make money, but you got your why also because for whatever the reasoning is. So going through your journey, because I know you've been doing this for some years, what were some things that you learned when you first started off at Airbnb, and some things that you learned, and even tell us the situation that happened and then how did you learn from it in the beginning process of Airbnb?
Great question. So, I got him. So I gave you like a why to, why Airbnb, but my personal why is because I wanted more passive income, because I wanted more time freedom, because I believe in freedom. That's what, ultimately, that's what wealth is about. And
I respect that.
Yeah. So, to be able to have freedom, to enjoy life, to travel when you want to travel, spend time with family when you want to spend time with family, talk about mental health. It's a reason why those stockbrokers in Wall Street commit suicide and they're making $1 million a year, is because they're making money, but it's so cutthroat, right? It's so aggressive and it's so demanding on them mentally. And I was already making money in my sleep with other investments and other companies that I took time to grow and build up organizations with, the home-based business world. But ultimately, I wanted passive income with real estate without having a lot of debt on my credit profile. And then, managing my risk that way. So,
well, let me ask you this question before you answer that one. I'm sorry. But oftentimes I've heard people on stage, at seminars, and they'll be like, if your why don't make you cry, then it's not a big enough why. And it's just like, I think you gave one of the most honest whys, and why is that? Like, and do you believe what you said is enough? Like, a lot of people are like, I'm doing all this because I want to make extra money so I can do whatever I want. Do you think that's enough of a why?
Because everybody's motivation is different,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, you know, why does somebody want to lose weight? Uh, why does somebody want to lose weight? Some people would say to be healthy. Some people say they just want to look sexy. You know, it was a TikTok that was going around like uh it's like a dude talking. I'm still learning TikTok, but he was like he was in the gym. You probably know what I'm talking about. He was like, man, I just did this shit so I could look good, uh, booty bone naked or something like that.
Yeah,
You
I'll
know
say
what I'm saying?
that.
Yeah. So, whatever your motivation is, your motivation. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, your why doesn't have to be deep. You know, my overall why is my current why. I mean, you got a lot of whys. You know what I'm saying? You want freedom. You want no stress. Uh, you know, I want to get the bad debt out of my parents, and I want the rest of their life to be the best of their life. So that's a deep why. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, you do things for why you want to do it. So don't do it for anybody other than you.
Respect.
So
So going
I
back
think
to like your, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
nah, yeah. The question before you was like,
Yeah.
what's an experience that helped me grow and um So so I wanted passive income, and an experience that helped me grow was just making sure my spaces could run without me. So I
Mm-hmm.
already knew the I knew the um importance of freedom. I knew the philosophy behind leverage and investing and residual and passive. I already knew that before investing in Airbnb. So I came in with a different mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're working a full-time job, or you got a brick and mortar business or another business, and you want to just transition to Airbnb just to make money, then it's all, you'll be able to do that. But for me, it wasn't just about making money, it was about freedom. So an experience that happened was with I had a lockbox on one of my spaces, and um, the lockbox got jammed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in another state on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and I also had somebody running my space. I never talk to guests. I don't talk to guests. I don't fix things. I don't clean. Right. So um, at that moment, I realized I need to make it easier, the check-in process easier, and when I'm getting spaces, before I sign a lease or before I do a deal or sign a contract, I need to keep in mind the check-in process. So that was like an example where something happened in my early stages
Mm-hmm.
with Airbnb investing that I needed to, learn from and grow from the hard way. So the 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 annoying part with that is now I got a frustrated guest. They can't really get in the space like that. So I gotta maybe cut the lock, or I had to pay somebody to cut the lock so they could check in. And if I didn't do it fast enough, they would have canceled, and would have lost some money. So that's like a little experience that you gotta learn from. That's an example. I got many experiences,
I
you
bet you
know,
do.
but yeah, that's one.
So now, so I know you have multiple properties now. You had multiple properties back then. So what is the difference between what you're doing with Airbnb now versus when you first started?
Better systems, better staff, uh, and my negotiation power is world class. Uh, Now I get big deals. I get 20 units at a time, 10 units
Mm-hmm.
at a time, and that's something you can't Google, right?
Yeah.
But I developed that ability by doing it over 5 years. So that's always good. Just thinking bigger, scaling more, and
Okay.
creating a better overall experience for the people that's staying in your place is always the goal. So that's the
So
biggest
20
difference now.
units?
Huh?
So 20 units.
Oh yeah, I got a deal. I already did 5 deals. I got 5 units, and not only is crazy. I'm a I'm a different animal, right? And I'm competitive. It's in my blood. Like I'm an athlete, right?
Mm.
But if you're a business coach and you're an athlete, or let me not say athlete, right? If you're competitive, you don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
an athlete, right? And you want to be the best, then you're gonna go over the top. So not only am I getting big deals, but I'm getting non-competes. So that means that only I could get those units.
Okay. That's smart. That's real smart. That's
and
good.
but though, so and I don't. This is a private service, but it'll be public when this video goes out. I have a special service called Investors Row,
Mm-hmm.
and I offer it to the public, but especially for academy members who enroll in my boot camp, where I'll connect you with these units, I'll connect you with these deals. You just got to have capital ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, so that's a little plug right there. But yeah, man. So that's the difference. I'm just more militant. I'm more business savvy, and I got so many years of experience. My years of experience will be able to close landlords.
Okay. So
So I'm just
take us back to, because you're able to do 20 units now, non competes. Take us back when you first started. Did you start with one unit? Was it all Airbnb arbitrage, and did you just grow from there?
yeah. So I started off with putting a few $1,000s in an apartment. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I share this in my boot camps and in my publicly. Um, in the beginning, I didn't know that you couldn't even sublease. I didn't because I never even thought to sublease, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know that some contracts prevented you to sublease, right? And if you don't know what sublease is, it just means renting the unit and renting it to other people, right? But that's rental arbitrage, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so at the beginning, I put a few $1,000s in the space, got quick returns, and it grew from there. And I built it on a weak foundation. So it's 3 foundations in this business. There's a weak
Mm-hmm.
foundation, a middle foundation, and a solid foundation. A weak foundation is when you're going to landlords, complexes, and you're signing personal leases, like if you were staying there, but you're not telling the landlord, you're not telling the complex owners or the complex management that you're doing Airbnb or renting it out, and you're sneaking around and doing it, right? Now, I would never promote that or encourage you to do that, but I made $250,000 off doing that in the beginning.
Mm.
But it was a weak foundation. So now it's harder to give the guests the best experience because you got to limit them from certain things. And if something happens, now you'll get evicted. I done got evicted about 4 times, right? So I had to clean up the business on the foundation. A medium foundation is where you sign a personal lease, but but the landlord or the property manager knows what you're doing. That is an okay area to invest in. It's just not in a contract that you can do short-term rentals.
Got it.
But the people of authority know what you're doing, and they're totally on board with you doing it. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
medium foundation. The best foundation is where you get Airbnb contracts, where where you're able to have it in writing that not only you can do short-term rentals and sublease, but it's all attached to your company name and your company EIN number, not your social security number. That's the best foundation to do it. And you gotta take some work to get that done. But ultimately, Airbnb, the accommodation business is not a trend. So it's not like it's gonna go anywhere, right? So whether you learn how to do that today, tomorrow, next year, it'll be around. But if you want to learn from me how to do it, then you want to reach out to me now, because a year from now I might not be teaching it no more, right? Mm-hmm. So get it while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot. All right, so you talked about like the foundations. What system in place? Like, what are the steps to create? No, well, not even a strong process, but what do you? Because you mentioned the lockbox and different things like that. What are the steps that one should check off to make sure that not only is their foundation strong, but when they do have someone book through the process, they go through a smooth process, but then they also get to benefit financially?
So, ask it again in a different way so I can comprehend it.
What are the steps to having a successful Airbnb?
Okay,
you gotta find it or something, right?
Okay,
we know that. We know something about the lockbox.
Got you. So, you're an AB student. I'm a DC student. So, and the cool thing is you don't gotta be super smart to make multiple six figures with real estate, right? Mm-hmm. You just gotta know how to get the deals, know how to run systems. So, it's 5 steps to this whole process. The first one is find the space, right? And under that umbrella, it starts by market research, right? So I made a blind $250,000 in the beginning in 2017 and 18 collectively, just doing it out of being who I am, which is a natural risk taker. But then I cleaned it up, got more professional, got more skilled, got more knowledgeable. And now, things are running even better, right? Scaling even faster. So you got to do your market research, right? It's a couple tools, we provide in the boot camp that allow you to do that. So you can get data versus theory. A girl reached out to me the other day and was like, she was in downtown Dallas. She was like, should I invest in downtown Dallas or by where my area suburb? And I'm like, we have to research to know, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't, when you're investing over, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, me and my homie, we'll spend $1,200, $2,000 on a section at a club, right? But once you start to invest $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 or more, you want to get a little analytical about it, right? Because you don't want to lose it. So that's the first step, market research. Then we have to find the space, right? So that's all in it. So find the space is doing your research and then searching on different platforms to find a space that could potentially generate a lot of profit, right? Mm-hmm. Then the third step of that is you have to learn the master script, and then you have to learn how to negotiate between that landlord, okay? To do the business there. If you want to do rental arbitrage, I teach people who own investment properties how to do it, and people who don't own property. So either way. So that's the first chapter. The second step is you got to learn how to furnish your space, right? You got to learn how to negotiate. Now, you're going to have some people that's going to say, buy the best furniture, the highest quality furniture, spend another extra $10,000 on furniture to make your space the best, right? And I'll pretty much do it, get the same amount of quality furniture, but I'll get it under less price. So I'll show you how to negotiate and get that under a certain budget, right? So the third step is you got to learn how to list your space, because you got to list your space so it'll stand out from the competition, but also so your space will get booked 24/7. One of my biggest fears was, what if I commit to this rent and the Airbnb earnings doesn't cover the rent? So now I'm stuck with 2 rents, right? So you got to learn how to list your space correctly, price it at a decent price that will and offer some good value. The fourth step is you got to learn how to manage it correctly. So once it's listed and live, it's pretty much going to get booked because of the demand, right? Especially if you research a good market. So you got to learn how to properly manage it from all aspects of the business. And then my favorite is the last step, how to automate it, right? How to be on the beaches of the world.
Makes sense.
And make hundreds of thousands, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that month, right? Taking a mental break. Because, see, it's all about your mental health. Because if you don't take care of the body and the mind, money don't matter, right? So that's why I'm so big on making money in my sleep. Why? Because I need to sleep. Me personally, I need 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep for me to function right. And I don't do mornings. So I've been able to learn how to position myself where I can wake up till I'm tired of sleeping every day. I've been doing that since 2012. So automation is the last step. You got to learn how to have your contractors run the company without your efforts. And that's the full process, of, the whole process to get it done. But not only that, it's the process to have success. The last few months, collectively, the Short-Term Rental Hack Academy, which is the name of the academy that I founded, to teach about Airbnb and to teach you how to do it from the process. That academy, collectively, with the people who enrolled, no guarantees regarding income. Don't mean you're going to make money if you enroll in the academy, but you will learn exactly how we're doing it. But collectively, the last few months, been making hundreds of thousands of dollars collectively with them, not me. I'm making that too over a period of a year, but they're doing it over the last few months. And that's because they, got into the boot camp, they executed what they learned, and they applied it. And, I throw in business credit as well, because you need to learn how to simultaneously get cash flow and set yourself up for funding for future business access to, to money. So that's kind of like the overview. It's like the overview.
And how much with this rental arbitrage, with a new person looking to invest in it, how much should they expect to invest in for finding these properties?
How much they expect to invest in finding?
Into a property to get started with Airbnb.
Great question. So it's 2 strategies, and I threw in the other strategy with the boot camp. Is I started teaching it how to get involved with no money and no credit. Right, but of course, if you get involved that way, your overall profit will be a little lower. But if you want to get involved with your own capital or somebody else's capital or the bank's money, I highly recommend using the bank's money or your own capital or partnership. It's 3 ways to get the money, right? You need so it all depends on what type of space you're getting, but you need a few $1,000s because these landlords are going to want deposits.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to want the upfront rent for the first month. And then you got to have money allocated to furnish a space. So whatever that looks like, if you're doing a 1-bed, 1-bath in Georgia or Texas, you might need $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Miami and you're in LA or New York, you might need $10,000 to do that.
Mm.
If you're getting a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, you might need $10,000, $15,000 to start it up. So it all depends on what you're getting. That's going to determine how much you need.
Okay. Now you mentioned your academy, and I know like with Atlanta, and maybe it's because I'm an entrepreneur, I get ads popping up all over the place where someone's teaching a course and different things. And I'm even in like the Airbnb group, and the problem that so many people are having is that they cannot find a property. So is it to a point that the big metro areas, maybe Atlanta, maybe Miami, maybe LA, maybe New York, it's to a point where it's saturated and it's hard to find Airbnb arbitrage? Because I also know like with Atlanta, they have a new law coming out. I don't know if it's all the cities throughout the metro Atlanta or if it's just Atlanta, to where now you have to have a permit to do Airbnb. And I think other cities are adopting it, which makes it even harder to find it and more saturated. So what are your thoughts to that person that's like, all right, I'm ready to take Twiggy's course. I'm ready to invest the $6,000, but how the hell am I going to find a property when all of them are taken?
Great question. So, I was thinking the same thing. It's hard to saturate real estate, and that's why it's one of the safest investments, right? But I get see why, especially in opportunities when opportunities become, when a lot of people do opportunities, I can see how that could be like a thought, right? So ultimately, and this is kind of, get the gist of it, right? When you're doing rental arbitrage, ultimately you're a service. And what that means is your partnership with a landlord, right? So the landlord will always have authority over their property on what they want to do with it. And see, the reason these, little laws pop up is because a lot of people are doing it illegally. A lot of people, especially in these major markets, are not legally subleasing. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's all I teach. I teach on how to legally sublease. Now, when 300-400 people start searching in one market, of course it'll be you have to go through more repetition to find a space. That's part of it, right? So I'm not going to say that it'll get easier, but it will be worth it if you lock in. You learn where to look. You learn which type of properties are open. You learn how to find, right? That's the biggest, that's what I learned, right? How to find deals, and then not only how to find one deal, find a lot at the same time. So, that's something it'll take, longer than we have time on this session to kind of go over that. But that's what you got to figure out. You got to figure out that, find out somebody who knows how to do that, and the deals will be popping up still. Because here's the reality. Any given weekend in a metro area, there's a hotel on this block that has 500 rooms. It's a hotel in front of it. Have you ever wondered why hotels are all in the same area? Have you?
I mean, I would assume because that's the area that most people are traveling to.
Nope. The reason that hotels are in a certain area and they're all together is the same reason why you got Burger King right here and McDonald's right here on the same street is a word called zone. See, hotels are zoned in a certain area. If I wanted to buy a hotel, I have to do it in a zone. Who regulates zoning? Right? The governments and the governments regulate that, right?
Okay.
So at any given weekend, you'll have 10 hotels with 500 rooms in it, and all of them are sold out. Why is that? Because of the golden rule in the law, right? The real estate law is always more people than it is places to stay. So if whatever 500 times 10 is, if hotels can be sold out all in one zone, right? Which means thousands and thousands of people have booked that place. I can help 3,000 people get one Airbnb. And guess what though? And I still not saturated because when the hotels are sold out, it's thousands of people that still need a place to stay. That's the power of real estate. That's how big it is. So it's thousands of people that want to come to Atlanta this weekend, but couldn't because it wasn't any places they liked or quality that they want to stay, right? So that's the reality of major markets in big cities. But you got to understand, just like people leave the car sales industry, right? Somebody sells cars for 10 years, 15 years, and they get out. That makes a new available position in the car sales industry for another car salesman. It's people that's leaving Airbnb.
Yeah.
It's people that are not doing Airbnb, and it's people that was doing it and not doing it, right? It's people. So it's always a revolving door of people getting out of something, and that's beautiful, you know. That's beautiful, right? But once you learn the automated systems and you stick at it, you'll get to the top. You know, you'll get to the top or reach your desired goal. You just gotta,
Got it.
research. I invest in. I recommend investing in coaching and have some capital ready.
So for a part-timer, they can do this as well, because you mentioned you got to lock in and find it. But if this person is working a full-time job, 40 hours or 50 hours a week, how do they lock in around a schedule like that?
Great question. So, and that's ultimately why I created the Investors Row service, because me and the team have time. That's all we do. All we do is lock in deals. So maybe while you're doing a podcast or somebody else is playing sports or somebody else is, a hairstylist is doing hair, or somebody, is doing crypto or focusing on stocks, me and my team are locking in deals, right? So that's everybody won't get access to that, and everybody won't be able to afford that. But outside of that service, it is a hunt, right? It is a hunt. You got to find landlord. But let's say if it take you a year, right? So let's say if it take you a year part-time, and let's say you just talk to 5 landlords a day, okay? 5 landlords a day or 5 landlords a week. You get denied every month, every time. Okay. No, you can't do Airbnb in my property. No, no, no. I'm only looking for
Mm-hmm.
12-month tenants, right? This, that. Let's say by December 2022, I'm going to use this example, or whatever year it is, right? You finally find that landlord that says you can run your business and run Airbnb in their property, and you sign a lease, and after expenses, you pay the rent, you pay the automated system contractors, you're profiting $2,000 a month off of that space. You just credit another $20,000 a year on
Mm-hmm.
automation. Once you learn the automation system, I know a lot of Airbnb hosts that work like crazy. They cleaning, they talking to guests,
They're doing
they're
everything.
they doing everything. They just created
Yeah.
a high paying job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it takes you a year to secure an Airbnb space to profit $1,000 a month in automated cash flow, is worth it. It's worth it in my opinion. So, it's going to get harder as people become aware of this opportunity, but that should never discourage you from pushing through, keep staying at it, staying connected with communities.
Persistent.
Yeah, staying connected with communities that, you know, offer some kind of support with that in real time,
Okay.
data, real time, what's going on in the market.
Got you. Now I want you to kind of close it out with investors' role in the course that I know you kind of gave a lot of info on it, but before, to the average part timer that's working that corporate job, going back to them, they may have an extra room or two in their house and they want to get into Airbnb. And it could be a woman or whatever, and she don't want a man, to stay in that room, or she may not want couples, but she want to bring in some extra income and make sure that she's safe, while bringing strangers in. How would you advise that person to successfully create another stream of income while being safe?
So, and you know, I have my cousin. They kind of they got into the academy. Shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they had a home, and they just blocked off. They pretty much created almost a duplex out of their home, almost,
Okay.
right? But if you don't have the infrastructure or the maintenance to create some kind of duplex setting, because that costs thousands of dollars to do it, to turn your home or condo, apartment, whatever, into a multi thing. If you would like to do that, you don't have to just use Airbnb to, find people. In my opinion, if you're trying to do it like that, you just post your space on Facebook Marketplace, so
Mm.
you can screen and interview and see the person, right? Now, typically, women who offer
There's a
their
lot of
place.
scammers on Facebook Marketplace too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Scammers everywhere. There's a lot of scammers
Yeah.
on
It's
Air.
out of control nowadays.
Hey, scammers on Airbnb.
Yeah.
but
True.
but at the end of the day, through my research, and I don't do home sharing,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a low in the markets that I'm in, and what I looked at, it's a low revenue uh type of accommodation, because most people want their entire space, right? But you do have backpackers, you do have, conservative or people that's on a major budget that will rent those type of places, right? So to be
Mm-hmm.
safe, I recommend getting a refrigerator, personal refrigerator for them, or one for you.
Okay.
Um, uh, Having a great door lock, whether it be a coded lock, um, interviewing that person who's coming into your space, figuring out why they're trying to stay here, what they're coming for, almost like a roommate, you know. Um, I will also, if they're trying to do it long term, Typically people don't do it for a day unless the whole city is sold out. So they might
Mm-hmm.
not book a room on Airbnb for a day. So a room and an entire space, two different things, right? So refrigerator for you or them, private refrigerator. Make sure you got good locks on, and make sure you just get a feel for who you're inviting into your personal space. But like I said, I don't personally do that type of rental arbitrage.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an option if you want to do that.
Okay. So in an investor's row, is that only in a certain location, or you're finding properties all over the place?
So we find probably all over the world.
Okay. Where are you
All
currently most of your properties right now?
we're scattered in North Carolina, Georgia, and Dominican Republic.
That's your properties or for investors row?
Oh no. These are my personal properties.
No. I'm saying like for investors row, because you did mention there's an option where the people can invest in that. So where are
Yeah.
those currently?
Yeah, so what we do, we go out and do the heavy lifting. We negotiate the deal now. So we do it all over the world. Um, you would have to make a request, right? But we usually you would say you want to be an investors row. It's a part of the company, and then we go out. So it's two options with investors row. We got a completely hands off automation, passive income deal where you don't talk to guests, you don't clean, you don't fix things, you don't manage the calendar, you don't do anything. It's just a passive stream of income. That's what most
Okay.
of the investors row do, right? Or we have an option where you might want to run your own company. You might want to use your own company to do the management, the automation system, the cleaner, all of that stuff. But you don't want the investors row company to do it for you. That's a separate option, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just all depends. But we usually go out here and negotiate the deal first, so that the deals we bring to you are ready like that. Now, if you wanted to be on investors row, you gotta have capital because the deals come and go like this. Come and go
Mm-hmm.
like this. So it is a premium service, and if you want to know more about Investors Row, you you can go on my channel at official Twiggy,
Mm-hmm.
or don't don't sue me, right? I gotta make sure my say the Instagram page right for the other one. ST Rental Hack Academy. ST Rental Hack Academy. Shoot me a DM on both of those pages if you want to know more about the Investors Row service. And we'll do a consultation, see what you're looking for, how much capital you have to invest, and we'll either have deals ready. Remember, I'll go get 20 deals and they'll be gone like that. So we'll either have deals ready or we'll have pending deals, or we can go out here and, find deals in your
Go
market for
find you
you.
one.
Find deals in your
Okay.
market for you.
So got it. So they just reach out to you in whichever option that they want, and then just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. And then as far as your course, you still teaching the courses, and what do people need to do to reach out to you for the next course you have coming up?
So, I'm a straightforward guy, and whether anybody participates in a course or buys my course, I still do over $500,000 a year with the rentals alone, especially this year, right? So when I created this platform of teaching it and helping others, right? This is my 5th year in the investment. So, you might see some new Airbnb courses popping up from people that just got an Airbnb that haven't been through the
That's
ringer.
true.
Yeah, they might have made 80 grand or had a successful year, but they only 1 year in. So I always recommend, whenever you're learning from somebody, it's all about learning from the experience. If they got more than 5 years, the average business is done in a year, right? So I got 5 years in the game, multiple 6-figure per year years though. That's very important because it's all about longevity and consistency. But the experience is what you can't Google. And the new Airbnb hosts that are starting courses, they haven't been through the other 4 years of experience, right? So I personally don't like a whole bunch of modules when I'm learning because I'm a big investor in courses, big investor in higher learning. I spend
So
about
time consuming
I spend
with
about
those
50,
modules.
I spend 15 to 20,000 a year on seminars, courses, and mentorship, right? And my personal opinion is I like raw. I like what we're doing right now. I like to talk to you raw, real, because my bandwidth, my time, my attention. So in my boot camp, and is why it has a high success rate, you'll spend 5 weeks with me, Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll have live raw lectures, raw Q&A, no modules, no recordings, no PowerPoints, no putting your emails in to register, right? This is raw. And that's what makes this a little different than other things. And I get why the other coaches do that, right? Because it's so much, it's time consuming, right? So before you hesitate on investing in a course, just understand that the teacher has time invested. It has years invested, right? So that's what you're paying for ultimately. So I said all that to say this: the boot camp is 5 weeks and is live coaching. We'll research your market for you. We'll give you the logins to these research tools. I spend $1,000 a month. I spend more than that on these tools, and you get access to them for free by enrolling in this boot camp. We'll teach you how to legally sublease. We'll teach you how to manage the space correctly. We'll teach you how to furnish spaces under a few $1,000s. We'll teach you how to automate the space. And we include the business credit building deal. Right now, at this moment, I'm about to get a couple $100,000 in business credit, business lines of credit. I'm going to share with you how I was able to do that. Now, I was able to do all this without my personal Social Security number. So we jam pack all that in 5 weeks. At the end of the 5 weeks, you're going to know all the ins and outs. And we have hours of Q&A. If you want to be in this boot camp, I'm doing something special for you that I'm not doing to anybody else. All you have to do is mention the name Danny Renee sent me. And I'm going to do something for you and for, all of Danny's podcast listeners that I've never done with anybody else, with any organization. I'm going to make it super easy for y'all to enroll in this boot camp. Now, the time of this podcast, we have a boot camp that's starting Tuesday. Once the boot camp is started.
Yeah, I was going to ask that next. It's like, what if it's in the future?
Yeah, if it's in the future, the same deals apply. I ain't going nowhere.
Just message you to see when the next course is starting, basically.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
So go to @official Twiggy. It's a dolphin, me kissing a dolphin, in that. And
I'll put it on the video too.
Yeah, exactly. Or Short Term Rental Hack Academy, ST Rental Hack Academy, and message me Danny Renee so you can get the Danny Renee special And I look forward to meeting you. Look forward to meeting y'all, man. You know, this is a life-changing skill set once you master it. And, you know, we got a limited amount of time on earth. We might as well do what we need to do so we can live the life we deserve.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, Josh. I still feel weird calling you Twiggy, I guess, because I don't know you as Twiggy. But thank you so much, Josh, aka Twiggy, for tuning in to the Millennial Network podcast. You definitely gave us a lot of gems. Y'all can tell that there's a lot of experience behind this dude, and he's super genuine. So, again, this is the Millennial Network podcast. Remember, your network is your net worth. This is your coach, Danny Renee, and we're out.